Welcome to Firma TV. This week, we have a special interview with indie filmmaker Brett DeJager. Aha!
Abandon all hope, all that enter terra firma.
Today's hits, yesterday's classics.
Here's a special bulletin. Supernatural serial killer Edgar Friendly, a.k.a. Mr. BoneJangles, on the loose in the warehouse district. He's already killed 3 people tonight. Conventional weapons are useless against him.
All right, listen up, guys. Perp has already killed 3 people tonight. He should be considered armed and extremely dangerous.
Who exactly are we dealing with, guys?
Edgar, just remember, he's coming for me, boy. He's coming for us. Go on and do your daddy proud.
For as long as anyone can remember, the town has been cursed.
Look upon me, mortals, in despair. The hour of your annihilation starts now.
I'd like to welcome you to the show. Can you first introduce yourself to the viewers and tell them a little bit about your new film, BoneJangles?
Sure. So, Brett DeJager, from the United States, and live in Wisconsin, a very, very small town, so far away from Los Angeles, but still making movies, which is kind of a little segment into BoneJangles, which we, I guess it's releasing on Tuesday. So that's exciting. And BoneJangles, we filmed, I'd say, geez, it's already 2 years ago. So you can kind of see how long it takes from production all the way to finally the world seeing it. And so I'm just excited about that. I've seen it like 100 times, obviously, but every time I watch it, it gets better, which is different from what I'm used to. I'm used to, by the time it, from start to scratch, you end up hating it because you've seen it so many times and you keep picking things that you did wrong or you wish were, different. But for BoneJangles, I'm excited how it turned out.
Yeah, the trailer looks really good. I noticed that Reggie Bannister's in the film. How did his casting come about?
So Reggie Bannister, we were looking for a niche actor that the horror community respected, that was well known, and his name was tossed around with a couple of other people, and we ended up going through a process where we worked with a casting director, and finally he sent Reggie the script. And we got word back that he loved it and was willing to take on the role. And luckily, we're able to come together on price and everything else. So,
yeah, that's the one thing when you hire someone who's so well known in a genre. I would imagine it can get pricey.
Yeah, he was really awesome, though. I mean, he wasn't high demand or anything. He was just chill, and it's like, hey, let's make a movie. So it was really cool to direct him in a movie.
Yeah, he seems the type of person that's still got a lot of passion for acting in those types of roles. Interviewed Sid Haig not that long ago.
Yeah, nice.
He talked about how he took almost, I think it was 15 years away from acting because he lost the passion because he was typecast at the time.
No.
now how he actually loves being typecast because it means he's working.
I just watched him in Bone Tomahawk last night for the first time. I've always wanted to see that movie, but never got around to it. And I wish his character didn't die so soon because he's just fantastic in whatever he does.
Yeah. How did you get into directing films to begin with?
Yeah, so that was kind of a very weird way of getting into it. I was a freshman in college, and I was going to be a psychologist, which I am, but that's what my route was. And I was watching Eli Ross, Cabin Fever, and for some reason I really liked that movie. And I got done watching and I was like, I want to make a movie. For some reason it inspired me. And one of my good friends was a film major down in Arizona. And so I called him up and asked him if he wanted to make a movie, and he said, sure. So needless to say, we ended up flying down to Arizona, filming a feature length in like 6 days. And that movie never did get released. So that was my first like foray into the film industry, and it was a great experience, but it was kind of disheartening because it never got released. So I did short films in some 48-hour film festivals, for the next couple of years while I concentrated on my education. And then it wasn't until grad school, probably 2011, that I wanted to do a feature length, and crowdfunded the money and never looked back. So now I'm directing a lot more than I ever used to. So
what's the crowdfunding process like as a independent filmmaker?
Yeah, it was a lot different back in 2010, 2011. So we were one of the first people to raise money for a feature length, 7 years ago on Kickstarter. And so I raised that money, and it was a fairly easy process because Twitter wasn't, Instagram, all those things, they were big, but they weren't like super crucial. Yeah. And people weren't burned out on like all of the, GoFundMe and crowdfunding pages. So people were more willing to donate. So yeah, but I've had a really good experience. I did launch one last year on a movie that I wanted to direct. That did not go well. So, but we'll probably try it again sometime here.
Yeah, you do hear a lot of horror stories where it comes down to the last like 24 hours and maybe they've raised about $50.
Yeah. I canceled it like 48 hours into it just because it wasn't getting enough momentum right away. Yeah. So I didn't want to drag it out and spend money advertising and all that stuff. So,
yeah. So after your first feature came out, what was the reception like for that, and how easy or difficult was it to then follow that up with your next?
Yeah, so The Legend of the Coolie Moon was the first feature that I wrote, directed, produced, edited, everything, start to finish. We finished that, had a big premiere, and I met a lot of contacts through that. And without that movie, I wouldn't be here for sure. It didn't make any money or anything like that, but I learned how to collaborate, and I learned a lot of do's and don'ts. So I owe a lot of it to that movie. But
yeah. What would be your advice to, say, a first-time feature filmmaker, someone that's maybe made a few shorts that wants to transfer into making a feature? What would your advice be to them?
I honestly think making a feature is easier than making a short film. It was for me. I've done a few short films, and they seem to be a lot harder to get off the ground, and start to finish than a feature. My advice would be pre-production. Spend a long time in pre-production, but have specific deadlines that you need to adhere to. So don't be in pre-production for, say, like 2 years. Say we're going to be in pre-production from January to June or January to December, and filming will start in, the following April, and set specific dates, because that really almost like solidifies your plan and it keeps you going. But I would say pre-production, make sure you have, you're not trying to do it all on your own, because it's impossible to do on your own all by yourself.
Yeah, I find it crazy when I see people that have as a writer myself, I find it crazy when people take a script that's maybe the third draft and start trying to film it.
It's a long process, and there's just so much that needs to be done in pre-production that if you don't have it done and you start filming, you're screwed. The biggest piece of advice I would give anybody is, if you can and you are serious about making a movie to the end, is film it consecutively. Don't film it just 2 days here and then 2 days the following week, or don't film it on the weekends. That's fine if you have to, but if you're really serious about it, film it consecutively. The reason being is people move, actors move, people get busy, people drop out, they die or whatever, and you don't want to get halfway through and then your main actor gets in a car accident or gets married or gets pregnant or whatever, and now you're stuck. So that was the biggest thing. I see a lot of new first-timers shoot just on the weekends, and it kills their project.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to end up like Ed Wood having to find a double for Bela Lugosi.
yeah, that'd be tough.
I thought you'd really get away with doing this nowadays.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's tough. Because I know it's hard because people have day jobs and they only have a certain amount of vacation days. But if you have 6 vacation days, well, guess what? Film the movie in 6 days. Sleep 2 hours a day, but get it done. I know. That's my advice.
Yeah, I recently watched a Portuguese horror film. I can't remember the name, but they filmed it in 7 hours.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. It's literally almost every take is first take, and quite a lot of it takes place on what's supposed to be Skype calls. So they were set up in different rooms, shooting all these different Skype calls and then editing it together. But they pulled it off really, really well. So it just shows you what you can actually do, even with time constraints.
That's pretty cool. I've never seen anything like it. I've been into lately, like Night of the Slasher. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
It's like that one take short film. Fantastic movie. I would love to be able to make something like that. But I wonder, it was one take, but I wonder how long it actually took them to film it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to have rehearsed that for so long, and it's going to have been take 50 to get it in the can.
Yeah. It had to take them days.
Yeah, because there was an episode of the West Wing TV series where they did a one take that was a one shot that went for about 8 minutes, and that took something like a week to film. So you have people like Martin Sheen taking a week to film a scene like that. So you can imagine what it's like on a lower budget.
Yeah, I can. Just the choreography would be tough, but it looked like it was fun.
Yeah. What kinds of films got you into filmmaking?
Definitely horror movies. I grew up watching cheesy sci-fi movies and the classic horror movies with my mom, and so that kind of solidified my love for the genre. And then just for me, I like movies that I can watch over and over again.
Yeah.
So like the classics, I never get sick of watching, you know, Friday the 13th, Evil Dead, you know, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, Gremlins, you know, just all of those originals. And so I have a soft spot for horror comedy.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, I grew up in the 80s, so I remember seeing films like even like The Shining when I was like 4 years old and way too young.
yeah, The Shining.
Yeah. Where you're like your mum gets out the video shop for you, thinking because it's a horror film, it'll be all right. It's not like it's going to have, you know, gratuitous sex or anything in it, and then she's getting you like Friday the 13th Part 4 out.
I haven't seen The Shining in forever, but I do remember watching like Fright Night. That came out the year I was born, but that's one of my absolute favorites. I just love that movie. And The Thing, I guess. So the 80s were a great decade for horror movies.
Yeah, the Fright Night was one of the first films I think I reviewed on my podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's one of those ones from when I was really young that I really liked. Same way I have a soft spot for Monster Squad as well.
Oh yeah, Monster Squad. Yeah, I love it. Who doesn't like Monster Squad though?
It's funny when you go back and watch it and you're like, this is cheesy as fuck, but there's still a part of it that's really good, and it's amazing how much they got away with when they had child actors in it, getting what they were allowed to say, and that wouldn't happen now.
That's funny.
What would be the kind of, if you were, say you were offered the chance to direct like a big franchise or to revigorate a franchise like a Friday the 13th or a Halloween, what would be the one you would want to do?
Oh my gosh. This is like the dream question, because I was reading an article on Blumhouse about the upcoming indie directors that deserve a shot at a studio film. And I was, you know, fantasizing that my name would be kind of on that list. And when I think about like all the amazing franchises that would be, you know, that I would love to direct, I mean, obviously, number one would be I would love to direct a Halloween film. You know, Carpenter's original 78 Halloween was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
But I would definitely you have 3 tent poles. For me, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, and Friday the 13th would, if I was able to direct one of those or anything like that, that would be a dream come true. But I would be happy directing like the old House, you know, House 1 and House 2. I love those. Creep Show, any of those franchises. Sleepaway Camp. I mean, I love Sleepaway Camp too. So, I don't know, any of them.
Yeah, I saw recently Netflix were trying to purchase Tales from the Crypt to bring that series back, and they were looking to bring in indie horror filmmakers to direct the episodes and write the episodes. Would that be something that would interest you?
Oh my gosh, I'm a huge Tales from the Crypt fan. Hands down. Definitely would do it. I always thought about dabbling in like fiction, fan films, but I never wanted to get sued. And I have you ever seen the TV series I was on for a season, Erie, Indiana?
Yeah.
So Erie, Indiana, if I could like revive a TV series, not counting like Goosebumps, Erie, Indiana would be one that I would love to direct, or Tales from the Crypt for sure.
Yeah. I think BoneJangles is going to open a lot of doors for you, because going by what I've seen of it so far, it does look really, really good. Did you realise when filming it that it was coming together so well?
No. I was actually just talking to the PR firm that's handling BoneJangles. They're a company out of Los Angeles, and the CEO told me that he was actually seeing that BoneJangles was probably receiving the most positive reviews out of anything in their catalog in the past year, a couple months or whatever. So that was really exciting to hear from him, because he didn't have to say that. And for me, if it can give me contacts or connections or allow me to direct more movies, that's a win-win. For me, it's not about the money. If I could make movies and pay for my health insurance and food, I'm okay. So I'm hoping, as every director or filmmaker does, that their movie will open doors. I know I got a lot of work to do ahead, but I'm hoping so. In terms of when we were filming, we had, up and down. Some days we're like, oh yeah, this movie's gonna be awesome. We're cheesing out. And then the other days we're like, I quit. Like, this sucks. Those days, the first week of filming, we had so many issues, but we had flown in everybody from all over the country, and we couldn't stop. And we had so many issues. We were filming 22 hours a day out of 24. We'd get about 2 hours of sleep. And I think that week we ended up sleeping a total across 5 days. I think we slept about 10 hours across everybody's legs and crew. They were swollen to the point where we couldn't even get our shoes on and off. It was pretty painful, but now looking back, I would do it again. It's just stupid.
How would you describe the plot of BoneJangles to the audience?
Yeah. So the plot, I would say, a ragtag group. So basically, a pathetic police force or task force is transporting this evil, like unstoppable killer to an asylum, and they ended up breaking down in this old town called Argento. Just happened to be on a night where the dead rise from their graves because they're cursed from an ancient witch, and they end up trying to survive the curse, the witch, and also fighting off BoneJangles after he escapes. It's definitely unique. I don't think I've ever seen a movie like it. It's got a lot going on, but it's definitely, you have to go into it with the mindset of, we're going to have fun with it, and we want people to have a couple laughs. But also, I feel like the storyline is will keep people, interested throughout the movie.
Yeah, I tweeted out the trailer for it recently, and one of my followers on Twitter who likes to comment on all the shows and retweet everything, his comment was, holy fuck, it's like Jason is kicking the fuck out the Walking Dead.
There's a lot of reviews out there. Actually, it's surprising how many people got screeners of it, and because I was not aware of who was getting screeners or anything like that,
Yeah.
and then I would just get sent a list of all the reviews. I try not to read the reviews too much. I know you got the thick skin, but I like making sure that I'm not. I don't know where I'm going with this, but I do read some of the reviews and I do read some of the comments. But some of the stuff on YouTube, the comments are pretty ridiculous.
Yeah. There's quite a few people have the trailer up on YouTube, and there's like 40,000 views and 50,000 views on each of the videos. So it's really getting out there.
Yeah, I was. If you like search BoneJangles in like the search function under Facebook here, it kind of gives me some data on how many times it's been mentioned and stuff. So right here, just this one had over 1,000 shares, just on one article. So that was kind of cool. But again, I try not to look at the data and all those numbers yet.
When's the UK release of BoneJangles?
That's a good question. I don't even, what I'm told is that there's like a physical release, like Blu-ray and DVD sometime in September. But I'm not sure exact dates at all. So I apologize for that.
That's okay. When we work it out, I'll make sure to tweet it out when it's coming out.
Well, we should get you a screener or something.
That'd be awesome.
So I'll send the PR company and an email seeing if we can get a screener sent to you.
That'd be absolutely amazing. Thank you.
Yeah.
What projects have you got coming up after BoneJangles?
Yeah. So I directed a couple segments for two anthologies. One called Cryptids. It's from the producers of The Barn and Volumes of Blood.
Yeah.
So that's going to be pretty exciting. That my segment's done. I'm just finishing up editing, post-production on that. And then I directed a segment for Rocky Gray's 10/31/16, his horror anthology. And that segment's done. I'm just in post-production on that. But beyond those two, I'm just trying to wait out to see how BoneJangles does, to see what project I can do next. I would love to jump right into another feature length, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do that or not. So if there are people out there looking for a horror director, contact me.
Yeah, well, I imagine it won't be too long before Blumhouse will be making that call.
Yeah, I'd fall off my chair if Blumhouse called me. I would, or Platinum Dunes. Platinum Dunes, those guys, Brad Fuller out of the guys that are doing all the reboots or remakes of like Friday the 13th. Those guys are great.
Yeah, and they're planning a big crossover with all their franchises. That's what has been announced recently. That's what they're building to, with all the new reboots coming out.
Okay.
So that could be interesting. Cool. Yeah.
There's so many awesome directors and filmmakers out there, so it's kind of like just keep doing your thing and making good movies, and hopefully your name is called.
Yeah. Where can people find you online?
Yeah, so I guess I'm pretty easy to find online. Facebook. I don't know if you can search me directly though, because I think I have that disabled. But I don't even know. I just got new headshots done, and I just put put those up online. How do you even tell what my profile is? I don't know. PJ Starks, the director and creator of Volumes of Blood anthology, he always makes fun of me because I have like 60 followers on Facebook. But Facebook, and I have a Twitter account, mystery_library, and Instagram is just mystery library, or mysterylibrary.co.
Awesome. Where does the name Mystery Library come from?
I'm a huge fan of like old mysteries, Hitchcock, Lovecraft, that Victorian era, Sherlock Holmes, and I wanted to kind of emulate that feeling for my company. And the room I'm in, you know, old bookshelves, hardwood floors, leather, you know, cigars and bourbon and all that stuff. So I just kind of like mystery library, threw them together. So it sounded good.
Yeah, mine was just, you know, Terra Firma just comes from, I saw a random post on Twitter where it was someone who's an astronaut, and it's Terra Firma but spelt the proper way. So I just went, that sounds kind of like a horror thing. I'll do that.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
Yeah. I later found out it was also a really, really, really bad movie. So people seem to think it's for that too, but whatever.
That's all right.
You mentioned Lovecraft. Is that someone whose works you'd like to adapt?
You know, I really am a big fan of like Reanimator series, Bride of Reanimator. For me, like that's pretty Lovecraftian. For some reason, I don't know. I always kind of think about those two together. I would like to do something like that, or like a Poe, Edgar Allan Poe. That I don't know. So I have such an eclectic taste. There's nothing like super specific that I would want to do, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and I want to thank you once again for coming on the show.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good night.
See ya.
Yeah.
Abandon all hope, all that enter terra firma.